everybody, and welcome. I'm still getting used to StreamYard fancy and doing everything live. Normally I pre-record, but because I deal with such shadow banning, I'm trying to do it live now. So so bear with me, guys, as I still figure out the new way of doing this. But thank you guys for being here with this beautiful lady, Fancy. You guys know Fancy from the Good Wise Network, and boy, oh boy, you know, Fancy, my channel, I had to make a post yesterday to remind some people that my channel is called Esoteric Atlanta for a reason. We cover weird stuff on this channel, and this case has gripped my attention. It's gripped so many people's attention because it's weird. And so you guys, I know that I still struggle with some shadow banning. So even if you're watching the replay, make sure that you like this video, leave us a comment, leave us if you're watching the replay, put your flag, whatever country you're watching from, in the comment section. And you guys, before we get into it, Fancy, I just want to show everybody your channel, just in case people are not aware of your channel. Guys, please make sure that you go over to Fancy at the Good Wives Network, give her a subscribe. You know, I think, Fancy, if you haven't already experienced it, you're going to start experiencing the power of the shadow ban too, because when you get really close to the truth, they want to put you in the corner.
Well, they've been trying to put me in the corner for 9 years now, and it just hasn't worked for them. So bring it on, friends. Like, that's the thing. Like, I truly believe that we're on a path of truth and righteousness, and I think this is way bigger than anyone ever thought it was going to be.
Absolutely.
I am shocked daily, and that's hard to do. Like, you know, but every day I go through something different. There's another piece of evidence out there. There's none of this. And it's just like, it never ends. It's like the song that never ends. You know, it just goes on and on, my friends. And no one even knows where it started, you know, like the whole thing. It's insane.
And the cast of characters that revolve around this story makes it even. Hello, everybody. I know I just noticed a bunch of people in the chat. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And and listen, Fancy, my audience, we know every conspiracy. We've covered every single 3-letter agency operation. So nothing you see is going to shock anybody here, because we've all seen. And I will have to admit, I think I told you, Fancy, it's crazy to imagine that it's only been 11 years since this woman has been in our faces, because I feel like she's just been here forever now.
No, and it's so much has happened in that 11 years. It's unfathomable. Like, you know, you hear my actual story. When I get into my story about what happened to me and what they did to me to try and silence me, it sounds insane. But every single one of those things that they did and happened, you know, and it's hard for me because I'm just caught in this chaos constantly with this. And all I'm after is the truth. And I think we're very close to having. I am 99% sure that we're there, and we've got the answers that everybody's been looking for. It's going to take us time to get through all of this information that came out in the last 2 years. I mean, it has just been barreling forward at us. Just, here's this thing, here's 100 videos, here's the FOIA, here's the, and we still don't have all the things that we would like. I mean, there's still many, many things that are still coming out in FOIAs later this year. It's just,
and Fancy, how easy would it have been when she got out of prison just to be quiet? She brought this, it's karmic retribution, because she kind of brought people investigating this on herself. But I have to give you credit, you guys. If you guys don't know, Fancy is the real whistleblower that looked through the medical records. And if you guys don't know, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, they had this defense that she unalived her mom because her mom was committing medical abuse, Munchausen by proxy. And we all bought it. And I know you at first got to know the family because I bought it too. And she gets released. You, before she was even released, you had found the micro deletion, correct, in her medical files?
No, we had found a test that basically had said that we didn't think she had any chromosome disorder. That's what we had found originally. So this is why all of our medical research was off. because we were still operating under the assumption that that there was no long lasting effects. That was their whole story, no long lasting effects. And we started digging into it more in 2024, 2025. I think 2024 is the year I discovered it. I had a long talk with Mike Weber, who is a Tarrant County investigator out of Texas that deals and specializes in Munchausen by proxy. And they have all been pushed back against me. Like they don't look, they've never looked at anything. They've never seen any medical records, but for whatever reason, these experts are just hell bent on saying this is the worst case of Munchausen by proxy they've ever seen. And so I asked Colleen again. I was like, honey, can you please go back over that micro deletion thing that we had ruled out? And she's like, we ruled it out. I go, yeah, but Ty was so insistent that there was another test, but she wouldn't give it to Colleen. Colleen never seen it. And so we found it, I think like April or May of last year, the actual confirmation that
Yeah.
there was micro deletion, and it was pretty severe. It's actually twice the national average of other people with this micro deletion. So her bullshit about I'm just partial, I was unscathed, or it's just I'm borderline. No, there's no borderline, honey. You either do or you do not have it. And the more of a deletion that you have, the more problems that you have.
And you can tell, the body keeps the score. When
Yes.
there's a sickness or a disease, you can see it in the body. And I think I told you when she first got arrested, my initial reaction, Fancy, when I saw her was she's sick.
Yes.
And then I got mad at myself because I thought I was judging her too harshly, because bless her heart, she's been under the hands of abuse. But my initial reaction, because I have eyes, this is a sick child. And with any type of chromosome disorders, you're definitely going to see markers on that. Down syndrome is a chromosome disorder. Now, again, I want to say Down syndrome, they don't have, like, if you look at the side effects of the chromosome disorder that Gypsy has, you see a lot of psychological. It's pretty telling.
They talk about the psychology of it very much, and it's conditional to even how they're raised and things like that too, because this insane need for attention that she has, this insane, like, I lied to my mother at 6 years old for 13 years. She lied for 13 years by her own words about not being able to walk. That's why the doctors couldn't figure it out. They had everything else. They were treating it, because in a micro deletion, like a chromosomal disorder, you don't treat the disorder, you treat the symptoms of the disorder. And so they were doing that without even knowing what it was. They're okay, here's her ear problems, or eye problems, or muscle problems, or this problem. They were treating all those things. They just didn't know what was causing any of it. And everything else tracks. Okay, everything else that she had done to her tracks for being needed, and you can see it's needed. You can look at her eyes and know that she needed the surgeries, or she'd be blind today. All those things track, except for the inability to walk. Yes, she has muscle tone weakness in both of her, even her fingers, her hands, her arms, and her lower appendages. It affects the appendages, but not to the point where she couldn't walk. And she lied for 13 stinking years. Her mother didn't force her to be in that wheelchair.
No.
She put herself in that wheelchair for sympathy and attention. And she talks about it in these massive amount of videos that have recently been released. And I don't know if you've been going down that rabbit hole, but holy crap.
The more that's released,
this person is not well.
The more that's released, my heart goes out to Dee Dee. I already felt bad for Dee Dee, but just the more, I can't imagine. I'm 43. I'm a little bit younger than Dee Dee was when she lost her life. I cannot imagine. And you can tell with Dee Dee when she was younger, Fancy, she was beautiful.
She's beautiful. She had life, and she had passion, and this child just sucked all the life out of her, just every ounce of life. And that's what she does to people. She
Yeah.
is like a succubus. She just drains the life out of you. And for her, that's what she thrives on, is draining this life, you know. And she does it to lots of people. Like I've said, her body count, in my opinion, is way higher than many serial killers,
Yeah.
because she
Absolutely.
it's like it's like a predator, you know, a sexual predator, who, when they do what they do to their victims, they leave them dead inside walking around.
Mhm.
And that's what she does. She preys
Yeah.
on you, uses you until there's nothing left, and then she just tosses you aside and annihilates you some more, you know.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why I want to bring this Zen, your comment up here, I absolutely understand that we're not, nothing's going to bring Dee Dee back, and nothing, we understand that she can't be rearrested unless it's federal for what she did. But the problem is, what Vance and I were talking about backstage is, and I have to say, in my opinion, allegedly, us speculating, this is a bigger story than we even understand. And it has
Yeah.
a lot to do with, I believe that the media is complicit in
Yes.
hiding the true story, because of Project Mockingbird, that the Senate in the 1970s actually admitted that they tell the media what to say,
What to
and there's
say.
always narratives for
Yep.
a reason. So why are
Yep.
they protecting her? And we're going to get into it, because with everything that's come out, it does seem like this has ties to the Epstein issue. Like, there are just bigger issues happening here, and that's why we're still talking about it. And also, on top of that too, I personally, in my opinion, do not think that people around Gypsy are safe.
No.
I
No.
don't think this woman has a soul. I think she's my opinion, I think she's a full-on psychopath.
Yep.
And she's gotten away with every single terrible, horrible, awful thing she's ever done. She's gotten away with it. And so she's been
Right.
programmed to believe she can do whatever she wants. I really, honestly, Fancy, I truly believe this woman thinks that the world revolves around her.
I do.
And
I do.
yeah,
She's very narcissistic. She's got narcissistic traits. She's got psychopath traits. And I did a really interesting video on this the other day, looking at, because I was talking with one of the other content creators, you know, and hater or lover, Katie Joy. She is
mhm,
actually very relevant in this whole thing. You know, you don't have to like the messenger to understand the story of the messenger. You know, I've been trying to explain that to people. But she and I were talking about demon, you know, versus psychopath. And she's like, well, demons don't exist because she is atheist. You know,
mhm.
she doesn't believe in it. And when I thought about it, and I'm thinking to her, you know, I said, okay, well, she goes, can we just agree to call her a psychopath? And I'm like, fair enough. But that got me thinking, whatever you call it, whether you're going to call it from you know, the not the secular world of science and all of that, and go down that road, or you're going to go down, you know, the Catholic road, they're both the
Same.
same.
Yeah,
It's
it's the
the
same.
same. When you come to the end, it's still the same explanation for who it is. So whether you want to believe she's a demon, or she's possessed, or she's a psychopath, the mental health of it all is the same. It's
Yeah.
that is what we're describing. And
It's just
I
semantics.
personally,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's semantics. It's the same thing. Um, and
yes,
this
I
is,
don't think by any
again,
other name.
she's a danger. I was telling you off
Yeah,
air, I don't want to be over dramatic, but I worry about you guys that cover
yeah.
her consistently. I actually do worry about you guys, because she
And
tries
she
to
has
strike.
threatened my life in the past. So
Yeah.
she has. And that was why I told Christy, I was like, you need to be very concerned for Mia.
Yeah,
Okay. Mia is
absolutely.
everything she is not, and got everything that she thinks that she should have been entitled to, even though she had a much more charmed life than most of us. I mean, seriously, the trips and
Yeah.
the places and the things that she got to do, nobody gets to do those things. That's why she did it. That's why she wanted it. That's why she was willing to sit in a chair and not do anything, because she wanted all that attention on her, and she got it. You know, she
Yeah.
got the attention. And this thing, to me, there is absolutely no way, shape, or form that makes sense to me why the government, the media, all of them would be covering up something like this for just some little girl who murdered her mom, you know, or murdered her
Yeah.
mom. I don't I don't understand. So when you put a deeper lens on this, which is what has begun to surface, I mean, the townspeople now are starting to tell the story. They're talking, all these FOIAs are coming out, and we're seeing the real relationships between these people that they tried to pretend didn't exist. We see the absolute sheer mental like deterioration of Gypsy. And I'm not going to say that she wasn't abused. I just don't believe that Dee Dee abused her. I think
No.
she got into something at 15. She has an obsession with the age 13, and at that time she was pretending to be 13.
Mhm.
And the people that she is with have an obsession with this number 13 as well. It's like a coming of age number, and that's when you become part of this weird ass satanic sexual cult like thing. and
Yeah.
and, it, and it's sad because people think that as soon as you say that, people are like, oh, wait. But if you look at this as a trafficking situation, and there's
Mhm.
lots of evidence for that. Dan, good old Dan the man, he lived with his cousin Brian, and his cousin Brian was arrested and convicted for SA. Mike Stanfield, we never could find a connection between Mike Stanfield and her before this, and we always knew there had to be, because there's
Mhm.
no way a public defender is going to enter an appearance and without her
Right?
even being arrested yet. Okay, that's not happening. And
He
it's
was
just not.
he was there to handle the situation. He was like a
Sure.
handler in that
He's a
situation.
handler. That's
And I want to
exactly what
say
it
too,
is.
I said this with Kresha as well, and I get this a lot, Fancy, because
Mhm,
Luciferianism is huge
mhm.
in our world, whether you want
It
to
is.
accept it or not. And
Right.
it doesn't matter if you don't believe in the Luciferian religion. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in the practices that they do. They do believe in it. And that's what matters. They're
They
doing
do.
it. They do. It doesn't matter if you think it's ridiculous. This is a reality. This is why there was a temple on Epstein's Island. Like, this
Right.
is a reality. This is what's going on in that park in
Yes.
California with the owl.
Yep.
Like, this is
It's how the
a
foster
reality.
care system loses over 100,000 children a year. Okay? Like,
Absolutely.
this is a bigger deal. And when you
Yeah.
look at this from a lens of a trafficking lens, everything makes sense. It then begins to put the pieces into place that this is a much larger thing, which I've been screaming from the hilltops forever. And now I
Mhm.
finally have this proof. These men have been arrested. Mike Stanfield defended a guy that Gypsy was in love with from from the Vigicon all the way
Mhm.
back in 2007, and he's on the run since 2009. They've not been able to get him and bring him in. This Luciferian thing, they do believe in it. They say that they're
Yeah.
possessed. They say that this, that. These people are not normal. And
No.
now we've got conflicting stories between the witnesses. Like, I don't know if you saw my thing about the cabbies, the cab drivers. But
Tell
the
me.
one cab driver, she originally talks to the officer and is talking about a man on the 14th of June, not the 8th, not the 9th of June, not the 10th of June, the 14th of June. And she's so convinced that he's got this accent, and he says he's from Wisconsin, and he looked at the windows, and he da da da. And you know what? That is true. And he was picked up. This man was picked up 4 minutes away. Four minutes away from where Dan and Brian Rogers lived at that time.
Yeah.
4 minutes away. You're not telling me there's some sort of weirdness going on here? Then they had to call that cab driver back and say to her, wait a minute. We also see on your log you picked up a man, or you picked up a man from the Days Inn, and you picked up them from, no, you picked him up from the Days Inn. Yes, you picked him up from the Days Inn, and you took him out to the house as well, and that was on the 10th. Well, I don't remember that. And then all of a sudden, they keep telling her little bits of information, and her story changes. She gets to court. That 14th, the drive on the 14th is not mentioned in the effing least. They don't question her about it. They don't ask anything. And when she says that, the only thing they ask about the Wisconsin accent, she basically takes her whole story back and is like, oh, well, I don't even know what a Wisconsin accent sounds like. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Do
Just
you think people are paid off too on the side? Do you think that there are some people that are being paid off to
yes,
follow because money talks?
yes, 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 and I
Yeah.
think this is tied to some pretty dangerous people in the
Yeah.
Springfield and Louisiana area. I think that I mean, I put out the other day, I found motive for Rod and the Petrie family in this and why they would go along with everything. Rod took a 33% pay cut um, just months before all of this, and he was not being able to send money. Things were really bad. He was dipping into savings and everything. And I don't know if you guys know anything about the oil industry, but when they bust, everyone loses. And I'm not
Yeah.
talking like, oh, I have to move my home, or no, these are millions and billions of
Mhm.
dollars that were being lost between 2014 and 2016.
Yeah. Oh, did I lose Fancy? Can
The
you hear me?
largest before that were very, 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 very profitable. And when
Yeah.
this happened, the it fell so fast that it had been a decade before that anything like this had happened, and that had taken years to happen. This one happened by the beginning of the 2015 to the end of 2015, and they were all belly up.
So
That's
this
how
was
fast.
convenient. This was at the least Fancy. This was a convenient
Yes,
way for Rod to make some money.
yes.
And I think there's more to it.
And the
We'll get
Petrie
into it.
family. And
I
the
think
Petrie
there's more
family.
to it than just a convenient way, because let me tell you, if my sister was unalived by my niece, I don't know if money would be the first thing on my mind. And there's a
They
lot,
talked they
sorry?
talked to Bobby Petrie, her nephew brother kind of, that whole situation. And on the 14th, before she was even found, before Gypsy was found, anything, and he's already mentioning Munchausen by proxy. Bobby Petrie, who's a kid when they were growing up, when Gypsy was there. He's a kid. Well, how would
Right.
he know Munchausen by proxy? You don't even, the woman hasn't even been found, and you're already telling horrible tales about her. Why? Why? What were you planning?
There's
What
a
were you doing?
script. There's a narrative
Oh,
that's being
I've
spun.
got
Yeah.
another little gem for you. Did you know that Daddy messaged her on the Snow Gypsy account on the 15th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Of just call me, boo. Daddy will come get you. Then on the 16th, after she'd been arrested, he did the same thing, same message in her email account. This is planned. All the bags all over everywhere. Do you realize what that was? That was
Packing.
truthfully her mother packing her up and telling her, "You have to go. I can't do this anymore with you."
Well, let's back up a little bit, because that is literally, the more and more and more stuff comes out, the more my heart breaks for Dee Dee, because she
Yeah,
seems like she was a very sweet woman who loved her daughter. She was in a desperate situation because they weren't wealthy, and,
right.
God bless her. Like, I don't really hold that against her for any scams she ran, because she was just trying to put food on the table. She
But at
couldn't
this
work.
point, I don't even see the scams anymore. Every scam leads back to her daughter
Yeah.
and the people that she's involved with, not her. I think she might have known some of the things that Gypsy and these doctors and people were doing. I think she probably knew about the eBay account, all of those kind of things. But I don't think she actively participated in anything from 2009 on. And before 2005, everything is normal. Their whole life was normal for a sick, chronically ill child. There's no charities being freaking scammed here. She's holding movie nights in her backyard for the
Yeah.
entire neighborhood. That's not a scam. She's
No.
providing the movie, she's providing seating, she's only charging for refreshments and sodas and candy and stuff. So where is the con for Dee Dee? Where?
I mean, Dee Dee, and here's the thing. I think we talked about this before, Fancy. I am of the belief that Dee Dee kind of kept Gypsy away, like, it kind of like didn't enroll her in school, was because Dee Dee knew that
Yeah.
Gypsy was a danger to other children. I think
Well, she
she
was thrown
knew.
out of her first school. She was, because she was a problem. I
Yeah.
think Dee knew very well, was very well aware of what she had, and she just didn't know what to do. She was a
Yeah.
mother struggling with this. Rod's a deadbeat dad. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I don't even care that he has this relationship with her on freaking Facebook, and they have a wonderful relationship. If you start going through the messages. Dee Dee has a wonderful relationship. Sorry, I've
Yeah.
got the hiccups with them,
Yeah.
you know, and it's all love and care and everything. And then the second she's dead, all of you want to come out here and just say the most heinous things about her. Like, what is wrong with you?
Well,
With
so
you?
I want for my audience to, so that kind of really, and that's what's been so gobsmacking. And of course, I think we were already speculating that maybe the story about Dee Dee keeping them away from Rod was maybe not true, but now we actually have the proof because of the FOIAs. Every single thing that is mentioned in those documentaries is a lie. It's
Right.
Project Mockingbird. It's a
Right.
story. It's a lie because Dee Dee was in communication with them all the time. She was even kind to Rod about child support because she knew that he was taking a hit in his because of the oil, and she was very supportive and praised him for everything he was doing. She was very loving. And now, so they get to Missouri. Now, with the Missouri thing, we know that happened all around Hurricane Katrina. I don't probably think Dee Dee ever assumed they would end up living there. I think that was just a coincidence of events. Would you say Fancy? And then
I
they,
don't know. I think no, actually, I think she wanted away from her family. Her family are lots of bad people. Okay, they do bad things. They are not on the up and up. They're very much criminalistic families, generational family curse kind of thing, on both sides. I mean, Rod's father, for heaven's sakes, was a breaking and entering thief, and I don't know if you understand all of that, but the family dynamic down there is so fucking crazy. So Rod is a product of incest himself. His mother,
really?
yes, okay, so his grandmother slept with her son,
Oh,
and they had like 12 kids or whatever, and one of them is Rod's father. And so, this whole story back when the day where or Gypsy was talking about how she was betrothed to another boat captain and whatever. I fully believe that. I fully believe that that's how it goes on down there. They are all married to their cousins. It's provable by their family tree. They've admitted this before, and I believe this is where this deletion is coming from.
I was about to
Because
say, Fancy, from what I
yeah,
researched, they worded it very medically about
yes,
to the DNA was similar, and I'm like, that's
hmm
that means it's like
hmm
that's that.
yeah.
Let's just call a spade a spade. Like,
Right. And so I really think that Hurricane Katrina presented her a way to get out and get away from these people. And I think she thought she was doing the best thing for Gypsy and herself. And then what happens is she happens to fall in with this Vigicon crowd. And Dee Dee was a member of Vigicon in 2006, making Gypsy 15 years old. So while they were in Aurora, they were already members of Vigicon. And Gypsy was introduced to these men at 15. They obviously did things to her because she talks about these things, and she's very sexually charged, and I think she was already sexually charged, and then these deviants began grooming her. I think they also groomed Nick. It is a cult, and it is tied to the higher ups in the area, and they all participate in this. And I think Dee Dee had enough. I think they had threatened her for years. They were either going to kill her or her daughter. And I think in 2015, with being as sick as she was and everything, she was done. She's like, I can't do this anymore. Get out
yeah,
of my Get out of my freaking house, dude. Get out of my house. No, you're not bringing some other guy to live here. No, you're not. You know what? I'll just get the nurses to come full time, because I don't know if you guys understand. There were nurse aides coming to their house on a regular basis for both of them. There were tutors coming to the house. So it's not like that nobody was in this house. Nobody saw her. No, no, everyone saw her.
and you can tell
Everyone.
Gypsy has an education. She was reading Harry Potter. She wasn't
Game of
neglected.
Thrones.
Yes,
Not Game of Thrones.
she's
I'm sorry. What's the other one? Tolkien. Tolkien.
yeah,
Okay, look, I have a hard time reading Tolkien. I got a big ass brain. I have a hard time reading Tolkien. Okay?
yeah.
Like, Let me tell
Yeah.
you.
So she
That's
wasn't
fan that's
neglected.
freaking fairy tale shit. No, she wasn't neglected. She wasn't. And you know, I've spent so many years talking about the fact that she wasn't abused by her mom, and I don't believe she was, but I do now believe she was abused by others. I do. And I think that they groomed her into this, and it's some pretty disgusting stuff. And that's one of the reasons why we can't just let this case go. This is no longer about a girl who killed her mom for a guy. Okay. This
Yeah.
is not that anymore. This is
It's something
way
way
bigger than
bigger.
that. You know, it's very insane. And it's just, you know, the more we look, the bigger it snowballs into getting. You know, I found a group that dates back to just like 6 days after the the finding of Dee Dee's body, and let me tell you, the information inside of there is shocking.
Well, and that's
Very
why I
shocking.
pulled up Paula Kenda. Well, I hope I'm saying your name right. Yeah, this is why. So why would the media lie about the story? Well, that's Project Mockingbird. There has to
Right.
be a motive, possibly keep hidden the participant. Exactly. This is what it's not about Gypsy. They're not protecting Gypsy. They're protecting themselves.
Themselves.
And I
Because they're all
wonder.
complicit in this. I know what they had. I know what they did. And that's why they're all mad, so mad at me, because I've blown the whistle on everybody, not just this little, you know, this little girl who murdered her mom. Like, no,
Yeah.
I've blown it on everybody, because I know what HBO had, and I know what they knew, and I know when they started fucking filming. They were
And that
filming
just
before
proves the
ever
point
made it
even
into
more.
print.
Fancy, that proves the point even more because HBO started doing all this stuff before. I mean, what about the justice system? What about
June
the
23rd. June 23rd is when Erin Lee Carr is part of this group. She becomes part of this group in just 6 days. 6 days.
yeah, it's not that's not so you get a tainted jury. You've spun the narrative with when the most foremost major networks in the United States, it's also global. And it's got absolutely. So here's the thing I was telling you, Fancy, like if she had just gotten out of prison and been quiet, I think we all might have kind of just continued buying the story. But the fact is she couldn't stop. She's addicted to
Social media.
fame and to social
Yes.
media. I don't
To
think that I think the one thing that Dee Dee really did wrong was that she spoiled her. And
Yes.
so she never learned like accountability, especially being an
No,
only child too,
consequences.
not having siblings around. Like, I think she just does not know how to function in society.
No.
And she can't, no, they can't necessarily put her back in jail, Dorothy. I mean, the federal government technically, I think, could still file charges.
Well, here's the thing. If this goes past what we think it goes into, then yes, there is a very big possibility, with everybody digging like we are, and we're informing the police and we're informing FBI, there is a very good possibility that they could all be charged in various different ways for various different things. There is. It just, um, you know, I just, but it's going to take a long road still.
We got to keep pushing.
We still have to be pushing. We still have to go, because there are people out here that are very dangerous,
Mhm.
dangerous people preying on children that are 13, 14 years old, and pretending that they are a family function, you know, and that this is family friendly. Meanwhile, you know, what's going on behind the scenes. And as we all know, these kind of events, Super Bowls, you know, sporting
Mhm.
events, crime
Mhm.
cons, you know, comic cons, they're all hotbeds for what? Trafficking.
Yep.
That they're
When
all hotbeds for it.
I remember, Fancy, when it was, I think it was the Super Bowl that was here in Atlanta maybe a little under 10 years ago. I don't follow sports, but I'm right in the middle of Atlanta. So, and I remember we all got text alerts on our phones to warn the women in Atlanta to be weary of trafficking situations.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
serious, and the World Cup's coming here too soon to
Yeah.
Atlanta, and so it's going to happen again. And I just what gets me, one the thing too, I hope that Gypsy understands, though, is even though she's caught up in this and they're protecting her. They're protecting her for themselves. I have a feeling, Fancy, if she keeps doing this shit, they're gonna
roll on her. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Absolutely.
something. She's not, yeah, I think that she is pushing the boundaries farther, and I think they all wanted her to shut the fuck up, and she didn't. And right, she admits to assaulting a 12-year-old girl when she was just 10 years old. Exactly. She has been violent for a very long time, and Dee Dee, bless her heart, I think she just didn't know what to do. In the end, though, if you have seen the Google searches, Dee Dee was looking for a place to put her.
I was going to ask you about that. I was catching up this morning. It does appear that Dee Dee was looking for homeless shelters that she was looking. I mean, you got to be pretty. I know you're a mother, Fancy. I'm a dog mom, but I am an aunt and an aunt, and it would take a lot for me to do something for Dee Dee to be that fed up. I can't imagine what was going on in that house.
No, I can't either. And the thing is that, like, there's one of them that she was looking up specifically that is for, troubled teenagers between the ages of 17 and 24, troubled youth, and people that were, mentally unstable. That was one of the places she was looking up, and it's a group home like situation that they put you in. I've had to go through something very similar with one of my daughters who had massive, anger issues and problems and things from her as a teenager. And I had to sit outside one of those one day and tell her, you're going inside because this is affecting the entire family. And I have 2 other children I'm raising. If you don't stop, this is where you're going. And I had to sit there knowing that if she didn't hear me, I couldn't back off. I had to take her aside. And
that's hard to do, Fancy.
Thankfully, we got a lot of help, and she's a beautiful person now. She's gotten through. She's an excellent mom, but she struggled in her teen years, and it was hard. I thought I was going to go out of my mind trying to deal with this child, and I that's why I sympathize with Dee Dee. That's part, a lot of this was pulled on my heartstrings because it was so close to personal experiences in many ways, my own childhood, with my mother and single mom. And that dynamic is a hard dynamic, no matter what. Single mom, single daughter, super hard. Super hard.
But you didn't unalive your mom, Fancy.
What?
You didn't unalive your mom.
No, I did not.
So
I did not. Because what I chose was the day that I graduated from high school. I went to my graduation party that night, and the very next morning I packed all of my things up and I left with my friend to San Diego. And my mom's like, where are you going? I'm like, I don't know, but not here. I can't live here with you anymore, Mom. I love you dearly. And I took care of my mom to the day she passed away, but I couldn't. I needed out of her house. I need it out of her house.
Most people won't that are in that situation of abuse, which I don't think Gypsy was with Dee Dee. I think the real unfortunate thing here is that I think Dee Dee is the only person on this ever-loving planet who actually loved Gypsy.
Loved her. Yes.
Truly loved her.
No one else cares about her. No one. Her dad does not. Christy does not. None of the documentarians cared about her. Her friends don't care about her. I'm sorry. They all use her for whatever various things that they need. They need in their lives. Mostly money, but a lot of them are using her for. A lot of them are using her for this, like, I don't know, a sympathetic victim to what they believe. It's feeding a need for all of them, and none of them are feeling a need for Gypsy. And I do in some ways empathize with her. I think that she got in with some very bad people. I don't think that her father was helpful in any of this. I don't think that, I think that these people conned Dee Dee horribly, made her think that they were her friends and doing such good things. And, she's going all over the country with her daughter. And I think all over the country with her daughter was a front for trafficking her when Dee Dee didn't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point, Fancy, because now we know also that Dee Dee wasn't watching her 24/7. Gypsy had a lot of freedom.
She had a lot of freedom.
And what's sad, Fancy, I do believe
for God's sake, freedom. She's freaking taking videos of herself naked in her mom's bed. Where's her mom? Where's her mom? Oh, it's Saturday night. I'm home alone, right? So yeah.
The amount of listen, I work my ass off. I hardly have a time free to myself, but Gypsy does even more. Like this girl was constantly doing videos, constantly on. Like she was, and you and me, Fancy, we work online. We have our platforms online, and she was still doing more than we were. This
There's
is
no
what
way
is
I could have been the amount of content this girl made. Like
yeah.
seriously, it's insane amounts of content. She and we tried to show you guys this a long time ago. We didn't know about the videos like this, but what we did know is that the text messages were all day, all night, every day. So were the Skype messages. She's Skyping with him. She's on Yahoo with him. She's then on Christian Dating. Then they're back to freaking Facebook. Then they're on text messages. There is never a time that this girl was not online. I don't even know that she slept.
Yeah, I don't like I seriously do not know how, because being online anyway, filming yourself takes energy from you. You know this, Fancy. Like when you do a show, you're giving energy. For her to even make these private videos where she's playing these characters all day, ne'er a sight of Dee Dee anywhere, ne'er a sight of her. So
the windows are not covered. The windows are definitely not covered because there is light coming in every fucking which way.
Yeah,
she's in her living room. There is a 45-minute video, and I cannot believe that Greene County released this. This is distributing porn. Seriously, there is a 45-minute video of her completely stark naked in her living room doing various things, showing her hoo-ha, showing her booty, showing, and I'm not talking about the booty, I'm talking about further in, friends. Like, this is just, what the fuck? 45 minutes of this. 45 minutes.
Fancy, if I were her, this is another thing too. If I were her or her family, I would be so mortified. And I would change my name and go away. Like I would never, like and the fact that she's now opening up a pod, I mean, we'll see how long that lasts, right?
Podcast. Oh, I've found God again for the 90th time, and I've been baptized again for the 19th time. I can't, like, the amount of delusion in her mind is kind of admirable. Like the fact that she can be that delusional to be able to, I would be, the one person I absolutely respect in that family, and I don't know because I never met him, is Dylan, because he ran away, didn't he? No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He's just kept hidden. He's married to his cousin.
Oh God.
So no, the only one who has any real sense is Mia. She's the only one that went out of the family to have a boyfriend and do whatever. And I think she does have sense. I'm scared for her because I think they got her into this influencing shit and all of that to be the next, one of the girls that influences and everything. But she's the only one that has any semblance of normalcy in her whatsoever. I thought that was Dylan too until I found out, oh, no, Dylan married his freaking cousin, and Dylan likes to cat around just like his daddy.
Well, that's big in the Luciferian faith too, is marriage, because keeping the blood pure. They want to keep the blood pure. So that's a big, I know people make fun of us in the South for doing that. I'm not, though. I'm going to make that very clear. My parents are not related at all. But the royalty did this. This is all very Luciferian practices to try to keep a particular bloodline pure. You would think we would have learned by now because of the Habsburgs what happens when you do that to people, to their health. But it is part of, you look at the Sabbatean. So Fancy, I don't know if you've ever looked into the Sabbatean death cults, but they do that. They do a lot of inter-family mingling, and it really feeds into like what we see with these rings of what they're doing. They say that all of our elites are really Sabbateans. It's very as many problems as I had as we all have our issues with our parents, but I am so freaking glad that I don't have the problems that some of these kids have, because my parents would have never done anything like this ever.
No, for heaven's sakes, no.
So it is crazy. So Fancy, it's only been she was released at the end of 23. Was it right before? before.
The
So it's
28th,
been a little over 2
December
years
28th.
she's been out. And
Yeah.
the amount of stuff that has rolled out, can we just start from the beginning with you? Like, what have you learned? Because you, as I say, I give you a lot of credit because you were really the first one. And Fancy, I know what that feels like when you're shouting at a wall. You feel like you're shouting at the wall because no one
I was
believes you.
shouting into the void for years.
And then finally it's breaking. And now I would say majority of people, I think, do believe you at this point. How does that feel, first of all, to stick with it to the point where now everybody believes you?
It's vindicating in many ways because, I was called crazy for my wild theories, my wild thoughts, this, that, the other. But what I had was pieces of information, that all we could do was use our brains and speculate from what we had. We didn't have a dart, like how you think about a board, a murder board, right? And there's strings and they go to each other. No, okay. All we had were dots. That's all we had. And you try to be like, okay, so let's connect this dot to, oh, no. Okay, no. Well, let's try. Oh, no, that doesn't work either because we had crucial pieces missing in every little spot from their lies and this total cover up. And so it's been very hard because I knew what I knew. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, you're just crazy. No, I'm not. And everything I have ever said about these people is true. It's
Yeah.
100% true. Christy is a horrible person. Christy was horrible to Dee Dee. Christy is all about the money and the Benjamin. She don't give a shit about Gypsy. She could care less. If I had written a whole total hit piece on Gypsy, as long as I didn't come after her and I freaking, paid them, they would have gone right along with it. They don't care. They don't care. They have no care for her. And so it's been a rough road. Like there's many times that I just wanted to throw the towel in, just like, why am I doing this? And even today, I still have people that make up stories about me that, just the other day, I had this one lady who's accusing me of saying that Dee Dee was trafficking Gypsy. And I'm like, no, that is not me. In fact, I've yelled at other content creators for saying it.
Yeah.
And gotten into big arguments with them about that. No, I do not believe that Dee Dee knew what was going on. And if she did, the only way that she would be involved in any way, shape, or form, in my mind, is by being threatened or having her daughter threatened. And that's what these people do. When you
Dee
lay
was
the
in over
bigger
her head.
lens over the top of it, it all makes sense. Because if it's a trafficking case, all of this makes sense. It
Yeah.
all makes sense as to what was going on.
And put yourself in Dee Dee's shoes. Like, I think people don't realize that when you're dealing with these organizations, these cults, these covens, whatever you want to call them, these religious, they are reaching the highest levels of government. Who was Dee Dee going to go to?
Right.
Who is she going to go to, guys? Like, that's what I keep saying.
I have 3 other cases in the area, similar situations, very, very similar with these men and everything, and the CPS and the court system and the hospital system. And so you're absolutely right. I wrote to the head of the CPS, the director of CPS in Missouri on a case. And I had all the information, absolutely no reason why they wouldn't at least investigate it. And that's what they told me. They weren't going to investigate it. They weren't even going to look at it. There was no evidence that they felt would warrant them looking at it. Just looking at it.
And that's another reason why you keep doing this, right? Because there are other kids that are vulnerable. There are other children.
In fact, Gypsy was on in 2015, 3 months before her mother was killed. She was on these sites about this girl, Hannah Kanish, and she was a 13-year-old girl who was sexually assaulted and kidnapped. And she had been in this relationship with this man online, just like Gypsy. And Gypsy literally attacked her and said, 13, 16, you knew what you were doing, blah, 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 blah,
Oh, I
blah.
saw that. Yes.
Well, behind that, then she shares her story. She starts saying, this happened to me at 15 with this guy named Dan, and blah, blah. So she was really pissed at Dan at that point. And she even went on to, under this alias name, go under and say his full name. Mothers, watch out for Dan Glidewell. He's a sexual predator preying on teenage girls. She did this all out in the public, trying to get noticed for her story. for her bullshit story that, oh, this happened 4 years ago. No, ma'am, it did not happen 4 years ago. You were not, no, you were 19. No.
Yeah,
No,
you were
you
growing.
were
Yeah.
15. But I think that 15 number is from the what originally happened, and that is her. I think she's stunted right there. That's where
Hmm.
it stopped. Right there. These
So
men took advantage of her. They took advantage of Dee Dee, and her growth stopped.
it was the perfect storm
It
when
was.
Dee Dee got to Missouri, because
Yeah.
we know with this micro deletion that this is part of it, that they are very a delinquent, they're very sexual, almost, it's almost gross
Sexual.
fetishes.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not
Yeah.
it's the most at 43 years old, you feel like in your 40s you've seen it all. This is some of the most depraved stuff
Yeah.
I've ever seen. But we
And
see
you
that
guys don't even have the half of it. Like what the town is saying now is so freaking scary. It's not even funny.
yeah, it like physically makes me sick to my stomach, some of the stuff that she was willing, but we know that's part of the micro deletion, is that they can, that is a symptom where they can be very, they don't have boundaries
She has no boundaries.
on that in the
She has no
social
boundaries,
etiquette.
period. Yeah, she has no boundaries. There's no boundaries. There's no boundary she won't cross. There's no boundary that she sets for herself. And honestly, it's very sad because we're watching a very sick brain being
Very,
manipulated by other people with sick brains.
at the least, she needs to be institutionalized.
And that's why she wouldn't, even in her own words, that's why she wasn't going to go to therapy, because she told her dad, if I tell them everything that's in my head, they'll put me in an insane asylum.
And that's where she probably
And
belongs.
that's
Like,
what she should do.
I
It
mean,
is.
for herself and for her family. And now I have to ask you, I think we talked about this before, and this is my evolution with Rod Blanchard. I mean, I don't know the guy, just from what I see. At first, he comes on these documentaries and he just seems like this dopey dad.
Yep.
You know, this kind of dopey dad.
Bury his head in the sand kind of guy. Yep.
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 Now, the more things started to unfold, I started to get very uncomfortable with Gypsy's attention towards Rod. Watching that boring ass documentary, this docuseries is so boring online, but I would watch it just to keep up with like what's going on. And it was like she had this like obsession with Rod that made me very uncomfortable and
Very
grossed
uncomfortable.
out.
It's very uncomfortable.
And in the show, he didn't seem to reciprocate it. But Fancy, we're seeing more stuff now. There was a 2011 incident. Do we know more about what happened? Did she send her dad like?
And her sister. And her sister, who was 10 years old at the time, and then wanted to hook her sister up with looking for Dan, because Dan wasn't talking to her in 2011. So she wants her 10-year-old sister to go on Facebook and contact this man who she is telling Aaliyah is a pedophile. Yeah. Yeah. And she sent those pictures. Okay, 2011 is an extremely crucial year, and I believe it's the year that everything really changed and it came from this medical bullshit to this really sexual bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the thing, is in 2011, first she's diagnosed officially with the 1Q21.1. So now there is an actual diagnosis for what is wrong with her, and she can no longer pretend that it's fake, that this is not happening. She does not want to deal with that. So then she allegedly meets Dan that next month, 1 month later, so that's February. So then March, she meets Dan, and all of this is supposed to be over an obsession with Dan. It's less than a 6 month period, unless she knew him long before, which is my speculation. But she got with Dan so she meets Dan, she does that whole thing. There was something that happened in April. Then in May, 2 weeks before she runs away and all of this, that's where she sends her dad the nude pictures and basically calls him a sperm donor and all these things and everything. And then by 2 weeks later, she's ran away to Dan's, gotten home, and she then unloads a BB gun into her mother, thinking it's a real gun, and chases her with a dagger. That's a 6 month, not even a 6 month period, a 5 month period. That is crucial. That is huge.
Do you know, and Fancy, I keep looking at, Dee Dee, she was gorgeous younger. We see her health declining as it goes on.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
firmly believe that the body keeps the score. And I firmly believe that health issues sometimes are due to stress.
Yep.
And I believe in this case, Dee Dee
Yes.
was physically dying a slow death anyway,
Yes.
because in my opinion, because of Gypsy.
Well, and she did have a lot of health problems that people have overlooked. She's suspected of having Parkinson's disorder. She had some mental health issues, especially stemming from the actual car accident that she was in. I do believe that she was manipulated by Gypsy into believing she was younger. Honestly, I don't think it's the other way around. I think it is. I think that Dee Dee had cognitive problems from
That's a very good point.
2002 on, and she even mentions it all the time. I had an accident 2 years ago. I don't think Dee Dee got out of those 2 years. Like, do you know? I think that
Yeah.
was where her brain kept going back to and going back to, and that can even explain some of the errors and things that she was saying. It can explain, it can explain if Gypsy was writing it for, writing her own charts at that time and charting things. She could be doing anything, and I really do believe that Dee Dee was very childlike. That goes along with the idea of a cognitive problem from this car accident. And even Laura May, her stepmother, is trying to tell the officers in the very beginning, oh well, she had this car accident, and she tries to tell everybody her foot was almost severed, and that's not true. It was very simple. No, it wasn't. The woman had a fucking a freaking halo around her freaking
Yeah.
legs with screws in it, ma'am. That's not simply, oh, she just kind of broke her ankle. No, that is serious. It is
That's intense.
extremely, extremely serious. And you're
Yeah.
sitting here trying to make it look like she's lying about that as well. No, you're lying. Why? Why are you all lying? I want
Yeah.
to know. What benefit was it for you, the Petrie family? Oh, I'm sorry, you sold out for money. And everybody can sit here and pretend that Dee Dee was broke. Dee Dee wasn't as broke as you would like to believe. Dee Dee had thousands of dollars in the safe. There was almost $15,000 left in checks and bonds and all that shit left behind. But, everybody's like, oh, well, what would Rod's motive be? What would this be? There's no money. And I'm like, there was money. It wasn't
Yeah.
in Dee Dee's name. It was in Kim and David Blanchard's name in their bank account. Tell me how that makes fucking sense. So you don't think there's motive? They had lots of money from donations in that account.
Now, who has that money now? Has it been handed over to? We don't know.
Nope, don't know.
So, your opinion, Fancy, when the kill happened, well, it was planned for a very long time. So this is not self-defense. This is a literal homicide.
Right.
Period.
But I think there was a point that it went from fantasy to reality, and I'm still not exactly sure where that part happened yet. Like, I do believe there was a fantasy of this for a while.
Well, that's what my question is, because sometimes, and this is just me speculating, guys, I don't know. I don't want to be in Gypsy's head.
Right.
That's like a horror show. But we know that in Luciferian circles, they have to sacrifice someone close to them to be accepted in as a member. And I think this theory has been passed around. Where do you stand with that, Fancy? As being Gypsy's motive for doing this?
I stand in the fact that the townspeople have relayed all of this recently. And I do believe that this was some sort of ritualistic thing. I don't believe that Nicholas was there before Dee Dee was unalived, before Dee Dee was murdered. I don't. I think that from what the townspeople are saying, there was some sort of party that was happening at the house, and there's evidence of that party all over the crime scene. They are talking about how she was packing her bags. Those bags had been packed since May 22nd. So I really think that there was some sort of inciting incident in 2015, that they had to get rid of Dee Dee, and it became a convenience for them to also kind of do the blood sacrifice kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I resisted this theory for a very long time until I started really talking, to people that were there and know and talk about the night and what happened that night. And it's not at all what anyone thinks, and it's everything that we've ever said. None of this happened the way we think it happened. She did not die in that bed, and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
she did not die laying face down in that bed, and she did not lay there for 7 fucking days not decomposing, and the lividity is off. Everything about the crime scene is wrong. Everything. There's not enough blood, there's not enough this. And if you want to believe that the blood pooled in her lungs and she's laying this way, then lividity pulls the blood to the lowest possible point of your body. So with everything that happened, if there was that much blood in her whole front would have been black and fucking blue, and it was white as a sheet, and all the lividity was on both sides of her, which means she
Yeah.
was laying on her side. She wasn't
Yeah.
laying face down in that bed, and she was laying on her side for a very long time, because inside the lividity is this egg crate that has a very distinctive pattern. And according to the layers, that egg crate was 4 layers down. 4 layers down. You
Yeah.
can't have that putting an impression into her like that, 4 layers down on her side, on both sides even. You have to know that she was moved. You have to. There's no other question about it.
So Ryan, I don't know if a commercial is playing right now. I've got your comment up. I don't know what YouTube does weird things. I'm at as Fancy and we didn't play a commercial, did we? We're just chatting. So I don't know if YouTube did something, but I wanted to this is what we're talking about. So Ryan says she was going to kick her out. Wasn't that the motive ritualistic? Well, that's what we're saying. We're saying that this story has layers to it, and more and more and more and more is being uncovered. And it goes back to what we were saying beforehand. Like, why would the government do so much to cover for this little pipsqueak kid?
Right.
There has to be a deeper reason for this. And I don't know, Ryan, how familiar you are with like Luciferianism. If you're not, there's a lot of deep divers on YouTube and other platforms that go deeply into this religion,
Right.
and deeply into like SRA, and all that kind of stuff. And as we were saying before, just because like I would never do this, like I would never do anything like, are you kidding me? But just because I wouldn't do it doesn't mean other people won't do it. And I do believe in spiritual, I do believe in angels and demons, I do believe in God. And so I think this stuff is very real, but a lot of people don't believe in that. Like we were talking about that with like Katie Joy being atheist, but it doesn't really matter. Like it doesn't matter if someone's an atheist or not. What matters is that people are doing this because they believe in that this is their religion. And the reason why they use children and animals for the most part is because the darkness can't create anything, and they're looking for that illumination. That's the Luciferian, right? And so they take from children and animals, either through unaliving or sex acts, to take that pure energy. And then they have to do unalivings in order to first of all, to become compromisable, right? Because they have something on you, so they can control you. Yeah. So that's one way. That's a very logical, right? Taking religion out of it, it becomes there's honeypots too, which is the kids. But with this, it becomes controllable. But it also is a blood ritual, which is part of their religion. Not something I would ever do. I don't think anybody no, they're not debunked. Like I said, I think people, I would really encourage you, Ryan, to go, and there's so many whistleblowers out right now talking about growing up in these families that have left these families. It's very,
because the church doesn't recognize it doesn't mean that it isn't true and somebody doesn't believe it. I can literally decide that I'm going to worship this pickle. Okay, like literally. And if I believe it's true, then for me it's true. And I'm going to create my whole life around worshiping this fucking pickle, and that's the thing. And I do think that this had many layers. There is not one motive to this. I think this was a motive of many, and it went down the way it went down, and I think that many people were involved in the planning of this. I think many people were involved in the execution of it, and I definitely think many people were involved in the cover up of it. I mean, there's no other explanation for what we're seeing in these FOIA files. I mean, you've got a guy going through the window, then he's not going through the window, then he's coming back out the window because that's what they told him to do, is climb back out the window. No, in this scenario, he's locking the front door. But if you go to the very first person that arrived on scene, do you know that 3 people were standing in the freaking house? David Blanchard, Amy Pinegar, and Tamara Rose. Amy Pinegar is Aaliyah's mom. Tamara Rose was the neighbor that lived next door. Tamara Rose's daughter said that she saw Dee Dee in the neighborhood on the 10th in her van waving at everybody. That couldn't have happened. She was already dead, even by their whack ass timeline. You know, so it's just. I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, sorry. The math ain't math, and I was saying the math ain't
no,
math.
The math is not mathing.
And
I mean,
and
there's
then,
mathing going on, but it's not this kind of mathing.
No. And Lucifer for them. So this is the thing. Lucifer for them isn't the bad guy.
No,
that's where you have to think like them. Lucifer is, so there's Satanism and there's Luciferianism. These are 2 totally different religions. Right. And trust me, they get upset if you mix them up. Yes. Lucifer is the illuminator, the bringer of light. Right. So they are looking for ways in illumination. Yeah. And so when they do that, if they go into the real dark side, that's what Bohemian Grove is, the owl. And it's crazy. It's in a crazy belief system. And it's hard when you don't believe in magic or believe but you have to, again, remember, it doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. They do. They do believe in it. Thing. Yeah.
They do believe in it. And Dan was alleged to be a Luciferian. So was Kim and David Blanchard. I mean, I've got reports that Kim literally said she was possessed by a demon one night. I mean, yeah. This is not normal. These are not normal people. And it is a massive business. Exactly.
It is a massive business. Yeah, Lucifer could be a symbol for some people as symbolism and original thought. That could be, but for them, that's what I think that where the missing information is. For them,
so
it's
here. Let me explain it. I talked with my daughter about this the other day, and it was very interesting when I was writing this whole thing about Catholicism versus, the medical world and what we call, what this is, right? Yeah. Okay. And she was explaining to me that Lucifer, the angels were created to serve God. They have no choice in the matter. Okay. If you're going through the Bible and you're believing all this, they have no choice in the matter. They are not like humans. They were not given free will. They do what they're supposed to do. They are assigned a position. And Lucifer's position was the position of judgment. Okay. And bringing to light that through light judgment. And he was tired of it. He didn't want to do it anymore. He didn't want to judge people. He's like, why do I have to judge these people? Then I have to carry this burden, right? Like I've judged them. And so he was tossed out. So that is why they believe that he is a light bringer. And but God basically gave him a punishment. Okay, so you don't want to judge and you don't want to give others punishment. Well, here is yours. You will now forever rule. You wanted to rule the world. You wanted to rule a body, so you can rule you can rule hell, and you have to judge everyone all the time. That's your whole thing. And so if you look at it that way, that's kind of the idea that Lucifer is the light, and he's not really a bad person. He's doing what he has been tasked by God to do, and that's been punished for wanting the free will that the humans had. So
yeah, but see, and I think that's what we're saying, right? It doesn't matter what the Bible says. It doesn't matter what theology says or Christians. It's their belief system. That's what we're saying. So it doesn't matter what you're saying might be true, but it doesn't matter, and because they don't believe that. They have an actual belief system. And if you look, it's I think I agree, Joe. I think Jojo, I think you're I think you're missing the point, Ryan. Like what we're saying is like it doesn't, Old Testament, New Testament doesn't really matter, because that's not their belief system. And once you understand their religion, you have to see it as a totally different religion that they practice. Once you kind of understand that, then all of a sudden the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case starts to make sense. Then all of a sudden JJ Vallow, Tyler Lee Ryan, the Lori Vallow case starts to make more sense. All of a sudden Epstein's Island starts to make more sense. Right? We see a lot of our politicians, on both sides of the political island, wearing pins.
Right. I think the best thing that we can describe this is clearly a battle between good and evil. That
Yeah.
is what's happening right now. And I think it's the whole
Yes.
world,
It's the
everything
whole
that we're
world.
going through right now with the media, and it's all very bad right now. And it is a moment of ultimate evil and
Mhm.
good trying to overtake that evil. And I truly believe that's where what we're seeing. And that's why this
Absolutely.
is so chaotic, so crazy. So because you cannot look at it with a lens of normalcy or logic or reason. You can't. Like, I have to go
Yeah.
into a whole different headspace when I'm looking at this to look at it from what their point of view is. Like, who
Right.
are these people and why would they do these things, you know?
You have
And
to
it's
take academics out of it. So I think that's where you're missing the point, Ryan, is you're looking at this from an and also Crystal as well. You're looking at this from an academic perspective. And that is not, you have to take that aside. You have to understand there are things that they believe that we just no, it is Luciferianism, Ryan. Trust me. I have worked with a lot of whistleblowers, a lot of them who have tons of them who have grown up in Luciferian families who have now tried to witness for the government to try to stop this shit. For it's there, it is Luciferianism. It's not Satanism. It's Luciferianism.
they're
Yeah,
very
it's
different.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're very different, and Luciferianism is far more dark and dangerous than Satanism is. Although they might call it SRA, satanic ritual abuse, it's still Luciferianism.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and that's what's hard, I think. I think you have it right, Raylan, that the average human could never imagine how bad some of these, and that's why I think people you're trying to understand it from a very healthy perspective. And you can't, if you're healthy minded, you can't actually fully understand what these people think. And so I would say throw every academic, theological, comparative religion course you've ever taken. They're not going to teach this in schools, guys. They're
No.
not going to, because then it would blow the cover on all of
Right.
our politicians,
And
right?
also,
Like,
and also the Christian world isn't going to tell you this because they don't want this to be something that people will believe in.
right.
So they just ignore it. There, it's no, it doesn't exist. And I understand that. Nobody's
No, we're not
silencing you.
silencing you. No, we're just talking with you. We're saying from our research and our experience, this is no, you're not on silent. You're right here. Yeah, I haven't silenced you. You're asking
No.
questions. We're explaining it because this is why that this is yeah, so much history has been hidden. This is why what Fancy's doing is so important because it's bigger than Gypsy. It's like Kresha over on Difficult Research does 4-hour shows every night because they're trying to save lives. Yeah, absolutely. It's secret. It's secret. So anyway, I know we went off on a tangent there, but this is what
Right.
I think this is what this is. We're
I
looking
actually
at
think this is the crux
Luciferianism.
of the case. I really do. And I think that there's a lot of people involved in what happened that night.
Yeah.
It had been happening for years. Um, the trafficking thing isn't a conspiracy. It's not.
No.
There's actual proof to this. These men that were involved with her have been arrested in many other cases of this. And Mike Stanfield represented the one that she was very much in love with from being 15 years old. This was at the time that she was 15. She keeps saying this happened to her at 15. Well, I don't think it was Dan. I think it's this other man. And this man was represented by Mike Stanfield. And they have confirmed, the community has confirmed that Stanfield is a member of the 501 First and the 66 Garrison, which are their nonprofits that they use everything to funnel the money through, their nonprofits. And he was very hidden because of the fact that he's a lawyer and he gets them all off. He got this man 90 days for a sexual assault, and then he did part of the 90 days, was released, and he was supposed to do, like, probation or whatever. He skipped town. They got him back at one point in time, and then he skipped town again, and he has been on the run since 2009. He has 2 different cases that have active warrants, one of them being the one that Mike Stanfield represented him in 2007.
That's handy, isn't
I
it? There's no
Yeah.
such thing as a coincidence when it comes to this group of people.
No.
And Ryan, if you look on the Google machine, they're going to hide it because who owns, YouTube and Google are owned by these people as well. So you have
Right.
to go to other, you have to look through other.
And you have to remember that Google is a search engine. It can
Yeah.
only search what's out there.
Mhm.
Okay. So because I am just an independent smaller create. I'm not a small creator, but I'm a smaller creator. You know, I'm a mid-sized creator, and I'm the only one for a very long time that was saying any of these things. Google isn't going to pick that up. They're going to go with what the media sources are telling it is true. And if you go Google now, it's starting to change because there are several people on this now, because we're being loud about it. Yeah, so that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, Google can only be as good as the sources that Google has to search. And if
Yeah.
it has no sources giving an alternate narrative, then the alternate narrative is never found. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you know what I found fancy when I started look into like some of the lies in our history? I started reading lawsuits against the Smithsonian. And that's where I got a lot of my information, because they have to talk about everything in these lawsuits. These archaeologists were suing the Smithsonian for incinerating fossils of like giants, and their defense was, we have to preserve the narrative. Well, what narrative is that? And so you get a lot. So when you continue to dig down this path and you pull layer after layer after layer apart, you start to hit gold. And that is, I would also really recommend everybody, if this is the first time you're hearing it, please look up Project Mockingbird, and please look up Project Paperclip. And you're going to see a lot of, you will never trust the mainstream. I see the mainstream media now as purely entertainment.
It's purely entertainment. I can't trust anything they say. You have to do your own damn research. Like, you can't believe anything they say. They'll tell you the sky is black when you know it fucking isn't. Like, and they will convince people. They will convince them it is black. No, it's blue. I swear to you. No, no, it's not. She's crazy. It's really black. Like, that's the thing. And anybody who goes against this approved norm, you're crucified. You are attacked, you're harassed, you're stalked, you're threatened, all of that. And my story is so unbelievable that people would do this to me just because of Gypsy Rose. But that's the thing. It's not just because of Gypsy Rose. It's because of the larger picture of what I have uncovered. And they knew I was uncovering this all the way back in 2011.
Yeah,
when I first saw the interrogation video. And
Fancy, I've gotten threats.
My notes to Christy, everything changed.
I've gotten threats when I was going through the missing books of the Bible. I've gotten a lot of threats. And so you just have to say one thing that goes against the programmed narrative, and all of a sudden and that's why I get shadow banned, right? And so you can't trust, like, and that is why we saw after 2020, especially, we've seen a crash in legacy media. They're having to get rid of shows. Why? Because people are going to people like Fancy instead, right? Because
are the news. We are the news now. We are the media. Independent people out here reporting what's going on without a bias, like, that's who you have to trust now. You can't go to mainstream media and think that any of them are telling you, the truth. That it's just not. It's very upsetting. Trust me, we went through it with the COVID thing. We've gone through it with political shit. Nothing that they say, either side, is truthful. Nothing. No. It's all just propaganda for whatever motive-based thing they're trying to push.
And then if you go even deeper, you find, again, goes right back to the Sabbatean death cult, which are Luciferians. It goes all back to, and that is why a little pipsqueak, like little possum-faced psychopath like Gypsy Rose it's not about her, it's about them. They're protecting themselves. And I'm telling you, Gypsy, if you're watching this, we're speaking the truth. They will throw your ass under the bus.
Yeah.
So fast, without even thinking. Right. Yeah, it's so that, but that's why we talk about it, because
they turn on their own mothers if it meant that they were saving themselves. These people have no loyalty to anyone but themselves. That's the thing. And HBO knew what they were doing. I want you guys to look at this. Like, this is I don't know if you guys can see it. Hold on, let me turn my blur off. This is notes, and I told you guys I found this the other day. Just this interesting little thing, and I started taking notes on it. And if you look, I keep saying what? HBO is filming. HBO is filming because it is June 25th and Gypsy is leaving for Waukesha. June 26th, Rod and Christy arrive. HBO is filming. And then if you go down further, there is, like I said, Aaron Lee Carr is in this group. Jenner Smith from 2020 was in this group, has been in this group for 8 years. Yep. Um, there is talk from the very beginning, from the 23rd, and knowing that they were going to meet Gypsy, they were already talking about, can they get book deals? Can they do this? Can a lawyer take this pro bono for book rights and da 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 da? Because they're not going to be, we don't trust a public defender. Da, da, and they're like, oh no, he's going to be fine. We've heard really great things about him. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard really great things about him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this was, and they're like, well, Gypsy can't profit from her crime, but her dad can and her mom can. So maybe they can do it. Like, seriously, this was conversations going on in a group that was designed as a support group for the family and Gypsy 6 days after she was found. 6 days, guys. 6 fucking days. Just think about that.
Yep. It's guys, I mean, part of me is interested to see how this keeps going and what else comes out, because the thing about narcissists is they never see a world in which they lose. No. And so the fact that they're starting to lose, it'll be really, now Fancy, who do you think Gypsy's handler is? If you had to pick, Bri, Ken, Christy? Ken. You guys, my Fancy, my power is flickering. So if we lose connection, was that God? Is that you? No.
I'll tell you what, okay, because I'm really in tune with spirits and things like that. I've had conversations with spirits in the past, you know, these different things. I have this, and I have no way of harnessing it. It just happens. Once I took this on with Dee Dee and realizing who she was, I feel her. And when I'm on to something, I'm telling you, she sits right here. Literally, it is right here. I can feel this band and it gets tight and I feel uncomfortable and I want to vomit. And that's when I know I'm right. I'm like, that's the moment I know, oh, fuck, it's really as sick as I think it is. And it's just as soon as I think it can't get any sicker, they go, hold my beer. Let's give you one more. And I'm like, shit, I can't take anymore. Like, literally, I can't take anymore. The shocking shit of this case, I'm speechless, and I don't get speechless.
Well, I mean, the good news on the humorous side, Fancy, is, and everybody watching, you know, there's times in your life where you self-reflect and you're like, am I a terrible person? No, you're not a terrible. No, you're fine.
You know how many times I had to question my own sanity in all of this? Like, am I really insane? Am I really seeing things that aren't there? Like I said, I didn't have proof. I just had pieces of proof and my brain and the brain of all the people in the Facebook groups that really did a great job of figuring these things out when we had nothing. We didn't have FOIAs. We didn't have videos. We didn't have emails. We had nothing. We had a half a casebook and what we could see on freaking the internet, you know, like literally.
You had your gut instinct.
Yeah.
Too, you know.
Yeah, and one of my friends who's been around this whole time, you know, she was supportive of them for a very long time. She was in a podcast with MJ Pack and everything, but then she lost connection with them after seeing certain things. And she came to me the other day and she's like, how does it feel to never be wrong, just early? And I was like, yeah, it's kind of surreal, to be honest. I still haven't grasped the fact that there's been a shift, you know, and I went from crazy Fancy to, oh my God, I think everything Fancy ever said was right, you know, and it's just,
what's the joke? What's the joke? What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? 6 months.
6 months. Yeah.
Like, right. Yeah. Well, Fancy, I know I've had you on for over an hour now. I don't want to take all your afternoon, but I have another question for you. What do you see happening? Where do you see this going? If you had to guess where this is going to go from here, since everybody's talking about this, I have not near to see, maybe it's my algorithms, but I've never to see a YouTube video in support of Gypsy anymore. It's all people pissed about this.
I mean, I think that we're coming to a boiling point, to be honest. I think it's all going to bubble over in this year. I think we'll all have the closest to the truth that we need by the end of this year with everything that's come out. I think they're very scared. I do. I think that Christy and Rod have gone completely silent. You know, Gypsy's out here trying to do the rebrand again and again and again and again.
Sister
Baby,
Christian.
it's not gonna take the little nun pose that you did. You know, it's not gonna go. It's not gonna happen for you. There's no rebrand for you. There's nothing. You are what you are. And I know you don't like identifying as a murderer, but that is in fact
You are.
what you are. You are a murderer. You murdered your mother in cold blood. You participated in satanic, or you know, Luciferian, or whatever you want to talk it. You participated in cult like activities. You still are. And I think the baby is in very big danger. And I honestly think that this is going to eventually come up with something else. I can't believe that we are going to continue on and continue on with this, and these people aren't going to be held to justice at some point. I have to believe in the system works at some level, you know.
I think karma, there is a verse, and I agree with you, Ryan. The Bible does have a lot of terrible things happening in it. I totally get it. But I will say there is one verse in the Bible that I love that says, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and I will repayeth." Karma, it's karma. There are consequences for your actions. We don't know. We talked about this behind.
We don't know whether the baby is real or not, but there is a real baby being in danger regardless. There is a real baby, whether it be a baby that was trafficked to them, a rent-a-baby, a actor baby. There is a baby. It is.
We just don't know how the baby came. And I was talking to Fancy behind. I go back and forth. I don't know how this baby came to be. I don't, you know, I've never been pregnant myself. My sister's had 4 children, and I'm a woman, so I do have a cycle every month. And I've seen the pregnancy was weird. The stomach size changed. There is just the fact that the baby was born on the day that she was released a year early. There is just,
yeah, there's too much.
Yeah, this is kind of where I am right here. I don't. I think, in my opinion, too, Fancy. If Ken's our handler, I don't know. Part of me thinks he's there against his will. I don't know. Like at this point anymore.
I don't know anymore. I think he comes in for his once a month thing and does the photo shoots because he's obligated to, and then I think he leaves. I don't know. Christy, but Christy hates her. I just don't know. I honestly, maybe there isn't one anymore, and that's why she's just running amok. I don't know. Like, this is just, it's getting to the point of absolute just, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's no longer even logical in any way, shape, or form. It is just chaos, and that they like creating it, and that is part of an occult.
And Lucifer, they create chaos. What is it? Structure out of chaos or something?
Yes.
No, there, Angela, we're saying there is a baby. We are just not on solid ground on how that baby came to be. Is that baby biologically theirs? Is it? I don't think she gave birth to a baby. I don't know if her health could handle giving birth to a child, to be honest with you. Yeah, there's some people are on that. Some people think that it's maybe a fake baby. I don't know. I think, but the fact that people are even talking about it means there's something weird going on. Oh no, MIA. So she meant Ryan. She meant everyone's MIA, not that everyone's Mia. Everyone is MIA, missing in action. They've all kind of gone silent. Yes, I know, because Mia. Yeah. She meant everyone's missing. Yeah. So I just whoever's baby that is, if the baby is a real baby, which I think it's a real baby, my heart hurts because.
We talked about this in my theory on this was that, okay, there is some sort of child. There is a real baby that is involved in this in some way, whether it be her baby, their baby, no baby, you know, whatever it is, we have to operate under the assumption that there is a child and that child is in danger. Yeah. Because we know what these people do to children. We know what they're into. And the 13-year-old thing is not just a freaking like number she came up with. It is a cultic number that is used as a coming of age in these types of cults. And even in the Mormons, like the the Mormon cult, not the Mormon regular religion. I'm talking about the we wear prairie dresses on a farm kind of, those people. It's the same
Yeah.
kind of thing. They marry their girls off at 14, 15 years old, this is all a cultic activity of some sort. We can no longer deny that. We can't. So I just feel like we have to operate under watching this baby and being afraid for this baby, regardless of where it came from or what it is, or if how often she has it, because 1 second alone with her and that's the end.
Yeah. And I love your handle name, Gypsy Rose's Sexy Tongue. I just noticed. No, Ruby Frankie. So that's another, the Ruby Frankie case is also another Luciferian one, in my opinion. They were following, I've been covering this book. I don't know if you've seen this book. I've been covering it with an ex-Mormon. This is a grimoire, in my opinion. And that's what they followed. And that's what Lori, it's crazy. And so it's all.
They literally thought they were gods.
Yes.
And
yes.
Lori and Chad literally thought that they were gods that would ascend. Like, where's that ascension? We all sat around and waited for it a few years ago, and there was no ascension. Like, nothing happened. We stayed up all night long waiting for it to happen. And hey, guys, it didn't happen, So
it's
they're not that great gods, but
it's
not that great. So
it's like this Luciferian cult has tentacles that reach everywhere, and it's all coming from the same matrix of this religion. And just be grateful if you've never heard of this, be grateful, because that means you didn't grow up in it, and people, God is plenty scary. That's why vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and I will repay it. Like, what you gonna do, Jip? Actions have consequences.
I gotta talk about that for a minute. It was the beginning of this year, I did get rebaptized. I felt like I needed to just get some of this ick off of me, and I just needed to cleanse myself. And I felt really strong about the whole family. My daughter had gotten just baptized, and my husband and I did. I really had this just like thing for it. And what really prompted me was the sermon of him talking about how God says that vengeance is his, and you have to allow room for God to make that vengeance his, and that you stepping back away from something like this and allowing God to enact the vengeance and the punishment and all of that, and not allowing it to be weighed on your head, is very important.
And God's timing is always perfect, isn't it? Because look how it's changed. Sometimes I wonder, Fancy, is her being so disparaged by her own actions online worse than being in prison? Because now she's not being praised.
Right.
And is her getting out of prison and everybody finding all this out going to now in the end save children?
Yeah.
We don't know the workings of God, what God works in. And I am a firm believer. And that is one thing, Fancy, I will say, my 6 years on YouTube. My channel's Esoteric Atlanta. We look at weird shit like this. I've learned more about the Luciferian faith than I think I've learned about anything else in my life doing this. And through all this darkness, I have found more faith in God and in the light. It has not destroyed my faith. It's made my faith stronger.
It's his timing. It is. Because if you look at my history with this case, I at any time could have sold out. I could have walked away. I could have made my documentary that I thought I was making. And guess what? It still would have been wrong. It still would have been wrong. I would have made what I thought I had, and it still would have been vastly wrong. So I'm thankful. Like, I'm even upset about the fact that we did the podcast when we did, because we knew we weren't ready to make that podcast. But that podcast was a jumping off point for everything we've done, and it was an early thought process, and we've gone past that. But I believe that this was God's plan, and I feel for Nicholas in all of this. I do. Do I want him living next to me? No. Do I think that he needs to be out in the world running around? No. I don't think he got a fair trial. I think he deserves a fair trial. I think that he needs to be put somewhere where he can get help, and possibly maybe he could assimilate back into the normal world, because he did live somewhat in a real world, where she never lived in a real
Yeah.
world. She always lived in fantasy.
He didn't want to do it. He was debating it with her. He was asking friends if they thought she was crazy. Like there was some sense of morality in him that was lacking in Gypsy. And I agree with you, Fancy. He's too impressionable to be out, obviously, but he doesn't need to be in a hardcore prison. He needs to be in an institution that can help him
to live somewhat of a normal life. Yeah. I think he could get a job. I think that he could have some interaction with people and do all of that. Do I think she should be? No. For God's sakes, no. You know, so I do have a heart in this for Nicholas. I think he was groomed by these people as well, through her and with her. And I think that's sad because his mind was so susceptible to that. That's what makes him dangerous, is his mind is susceptible to this high level of you know, manipulation and grooming. And it's very sad. But in all of this, I feel like the time had to come for the truth. And you know, what's done in the dark will always come to the light, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's where we're at right now. I honestly, it's been so chaotic, but right now it's peaceful. Right now, she's not out here doing the things she was doing for the last 2 years. You know, right now, Christy's not running amok telling everybody that the only thing Dee Dee was good for was being on her knees. You know, we don't have that. And so I think this ultimate truth is here. And now it's just our job to put it all together to expose the really dark underbelly of what this really was.
Yeah.
Because it sure is not what we've been told.
Absolutely, it's not. And the more they make a mess of it, the more it's obvious that there is something. Now, Fancy, I want to continue this conversation with you because I really appreciate. Guys, we got backstage and I was like, oh my God, Fancy's gonna think I'm crazy. I was like, Fancy, is this Luciferian? I was like, and she's like, yeah, probably. I was like,
no, like definitely, yeah, no, it is. That's the thing, is like, it is. And I would have never believed that before. Okay, look, I went at Karma Collector for months and months and months and months and being like, look, I don't know where you're getting your information from, but this is insane. And he still gets things wrong. Like, he still says that there were things done to her body that are not correct in any way, shape, or form. But the sources that we have today coming forward because of all of this, it's looking like that's what this is. It just is. And whether Dee Dee knew she was a part of that or not is yet to be determined, you know. I don't know. I just know that what we've been told by the media was a purposeful lie to cover up some very dark things. And those dark things are coming to the light right now in many different cases, many different ways. And I think that this machine that we have been like, you know, dealing with for a very long time, I think it's breaking. I think the machine is breaking because people are standing up, like me, like Bryce here, like, you know, other people, Mac and Becca Scoops and other things, and it just in all different varieties, though, not just in this case, but in many cases. You know, we've got the Epstein files coming out, and we've got a lot of the celebrities being exposed for things that they did for their kids to, you know, be accepted and do this and that. So I truly believe Hollywood is falling apart.
Yeah. It's part of Project Mockingbird, as someone I think posted earlier. It's part of that illusionary propaganda machine. And I believe that the powers that be created our social media networks to try to control us, but it kind of backfired because look at us here, sitting here now. And I would love for you guys. I know a lot of people. I know my general audience knows exactly, like JoJo, all my mods. You guys know exactly what we're talking about because we've talked about this in a bunch of cases. But you guys, for any new followers, because we have Fancy here and you're interested in the case and you don't know what's going on with this, I'm going to ask that you ask us questions about it. And I can look at the questions in the comic session, especially for the replay crew, and Fancy can look at them too. I'm going to send this footage. I always send the footage to my guest as well. After we're done, I'm going to send her the recording of this as well. If she wants to share it, she can. And I can actually send the questions to some of my whistleblower friends and have them look at it. and kind of give us a more thorough answer of what's actually going on from their perspective and their experience, because that's what's important, you guys. Gypsy's going to do what Gypsy's going to do. Bad guys are going to bad guys. She's going to continue to do this. I think she needs to be in prison as well. But what the one silver lining, what the devil will make for bad, God will use for good. The one silver lining is that her behavior has opened up Pandora's box.
It has.
And
nobody did this but her. She
did
this to herself.
And
did this to herself.
You can't get the shit back in the horse, right? So now we know there's something bigger going on, and now more lives can be saved, hopefully.
Yeah.
More children can be saved. And that's the point. It's why we talk about this. It's not just about Gypsy. It's about,
there's some very nefarious people involved in this that are doing this to children, that are preying on little girls mostly, you know, and it's scary. And the fact that they all thought that they could sweep this under a rug and no one would look is just even more concerning.
Absolutely.
This is a machine. It is working and we are breaking it, but for every one of us, there's so many of them that it's been hard, you know, to get through the noise, to get through what all this is. I do want to remind everybody that the heart of this, though, is my movement of justice for Dee Dee. We do have our petition that we have going. We haven't been talking about it as much lately because we've just been so inundated with all of this, but
I'll put it in the description box after we wrap up, guys. We do want to get that law passed. Do you want to tell them quickly what that law is?
Yeah, currently, the Son of Sam law has been repealed in most states, which is the ability to profit for a predator to profit off of their crime. And so they basically determined that it was not constitutional for them to not be able to tell their stories. And so they banned the protection of this. And what that has done is open up this loophole of a way for them to profit off of the murder, and not only just profit off the murder, but there is no laws currently in place that says that you cannot defame a dead person. In fact, they don't believe that it is defamation because they're dead and they have no reputation to protect. So Dee Dee's law goes further than Son of Sam law. It goes into the profiting. It also goes into the family profiting and where this money would go to. It also goes to silencing people that are lying about their victims like this and creating this huge defamation. So it's a multi-layered petition that we're trying to get put into legislation, and my goal is for it to be passed either federally or in all 50 states, you know, because this is something that is huge and we need this to be done.
I just put the link in the chat too, guys.
Thank you.
So I'll also put it for the replay crew. Once this downloads, I'll put it in the description. I'll pin a comment to the replay crew as well, because, you know, we can, even though our government is super corrupt now, Fancy, I personally am a constitutionalist. I do, and I love the Declaration of Independence. I think all human beings are created equal in God's eyes. We don't believe in a monarchy here in this country. That's so badass that our ancestors were like, to the royal family. I find that badass anyway.
Right.
And our Constitution, you know, we are the people. This is a country founded by the people, for the people. And over time, we've lost our voice. But I think with movements like this, with other movements going on, we're starting to see the people take that power back.
Yeah.
And it's super important because we are each other's keepers. We are each other's protectors. And you don't think this can happen to you? You don't think your family? I mean, look at Crusha East. Like she says all the time, I was just a normal, and all of a sudden my nephew is on national news and is found in Chad Daybell. You know, they pray. I don't think Dee Dee ever thought this would happen to her. And so we have to have, and I love, we do have the power to change it. We have to be patient, because they are one thing. This we call them the Illuma Schmotty here on this channel, because they don't know world. I call it with Crusha the HR management of the world. They are many things, but stupid ain't one of them, and they're patient, and so we just have to be more patient. And so
more patient and more dedicated than they are.
Absolutely. And so before we head out, Fancy, I just want to give I want to blow a kiss to Gyp because I know she's watching right now.
Today's my birthday, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday! Happy birthday
with you today.
Happy birthday, you guys. If you chat, tell Fancy happy birthday. You are an Aquarius like me.
I am on the cusp. Yes, I am a Capricorn. Like I have both. I have things from both. Definitely things from both.
Well, my birthday is actually 2 weeks from today, so I love it's no, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Aquarians, though, I love it because one thing about Aquarians, and I can definitely, because you're sassy, is, and I love that about you. We are so much smarter than people think we are.
Yeah.
So take that, Gypsy. Like, darling, your day has come. She should have just got out of prison and shut up. We didn't even touch on Ryan, and the next episode we've got to touch on Ryan.
Like I just did a video. I was like, messed with the wrong bitch in the wrong era. Like,
yes.
Sorry, you did. You fucked me over in every way you possibly could, and that karma is coming to pay today. It is coming today for all of you. That karma train has left the station. The truth train is pushing it, and that's the end. I'm sorry. The fat lady has sung. You guys are done, and you're too arrogant to even realize that you're done.
You are done. Again, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and I will repayeth.
Yeah.
Dee Dee was a child of God.
She was.
You had no right to take her off.
There's no other reason why Dee Dee would have had holy water all over the place in her house if she wasn't. I think she knew what she was dealing with, friends.
Like, can you imagine having a child so bad that you had to have holy water all over your house?
Holy water and crosses all over that bitch. Like, and she slept with a prayer rag, guys. This is serious. She was deathly afraid of her kid, man. Deathly afraid of her.
Oh my God, bless her, man. I can't. Like, I hope, and I thank you on your birthday, Fancy, for doing the Lord's work and for doing being Dee Dee's voice and, helping get this justification out there. So, you're getting a bunch of happy birthdays in the comment. Well, I really feel bad now keeping you almost 2 hours, Fancy. You need to be out.
I don't got anything else to do right now. I'm going for sushi later, so it's okay.
Girl, go get you some drinks, get you some fun, have some cake. You deserve it. You deserve to be spoiled. So, guys, let us know your questions. I'll be in touch with Fancy. We'll figure out another time to get back. Maybe hopefully Catherine can join us the next time, or we can really, really keep pushing this. Hopefully, I can simulcast too. If we ever want to simulcast, we can as well to really push it out on the algorithms. And you guys, do you think she will rest in the end? Do you think she will rest? Read in. Oh yeah. I think. Will Dee Dee? I think Dee Dee will rest in peace once this is taken care of.
I do. I think she's trying to.
Reoffend. Do you think she will reoffend? Yes, absolutely. That too.
Oh, for sure. She already has. They just didn't do anything about it. That's the thing. She offended in many different ways through her parole that any normal person would have been sent back and charged with new charges, but not her, not Gypsy Rose. Oh.
That's another indication that this is a cult. That's another indication. So just another one.
It's like every day I'm like, it's a cult. It's a cult. And we started that with funny. That was a funny thing we would say. Now we're like,
no, seriously, guys.
No, seriously, guys, it really is a cult. Like
that reminds me of that meme when the WikiLeaks were released, and I read them. I was horrified. That's another. So if you want to know more about this, read those WikiLeaks. And then the South Park guy, he's like, "Oh, emails with the government. How bad can this be?" And they're trafficking children. So, all right. Well, Fancy, thank you so much, you guys. Make sure you go subscribe to Fancy on the Good Wives Network. All her links will be in the description box below. And once we get off, I'm going to pin the change.org to the comments for the replay crew. And please, please, please go support everybody who's trying to get the truth out, guys. Help us beat the algorithms to get this out, because I don't know about you, Fancy. Every time I post a video, I lose money. So it's not going to stop me. So they go after finances. They go after everything. I'm like, listen, I have nothing else to lose. Janis Joplin said, Frida made another, there's just another word for nothing left to lose. And so we're going to keep going. And, you know, if you piss off an Aquarius, we're not going to let it go. We're just
No, we don't. We're not really good about that. We're really not good about that. We just have to get it done. And on top of that, I'm autistic. So this is like, no, this has to be done. No, we have to do this.
You're their kryptonite, Fancy. Like,
anyway, well, thank you for having me. I always enjoy coming on your podcast. It's always a great time. You have a brilliant freaking chat. They're wonderful. You know, we always have a good discussion, and I really like that you know, we can have that, and we can disagree on things too, you know, and really still come at the end of the day, we're still fighting for the same thing, I think.
Absolutely. It's justice. And I do have a wonderful chat. We have great people here, and they are totally on board they've been with me for 6 years, debunking all this mainstream narrative, looking at this religious organization. So Fancy, you know, you're welcome anytime. Let me know, guys, in the comment section below. Think about this, watch the episode. If you have questions, write the questions. I will have some of my whistleblower friends look at them to give us more of an answer. And then I have some other people that I kind of want to introduce Fancy to as well that might be able to help us. I'm going to talk to her after we get off about this, because I don't want to commit people publicly. So on a live stream. So hang out for a second, Fancy, after I hit end. And yes, go catch up, guys. And we love you all. Keep spreading this, share this. Justice for Dee Dee. And we will all talk to you very, very soon. Happy birthday one last time, publicly, Fancy. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.